you down with OTC? Are you down with OTC? OTC. Are you down with OTC? Are you down with OTC? OTC. Are you down with OTC? Down with OTC. Down with OTC.
Boom.
Oh, wait a minute. Boom.
Hey.
There we are. I don't know what happened.
Boom.
Boom. There we go.
Are you down with OTC? What is going on?
I am down.
Man.
Yeah, I'm excited about tonight. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, Jeff.
Always.
Want to talk,
Always.
As always, I don't even know where we start, but you know, look, it was we're like already mostly partly way through the month of January. We're into 2021, and we got a lot of things coming up on the horizon. Rise like a phoenix, as they say, right?
A lot of good stuff. Ripple XRP. It's the U.S. banning XRP. What else? What else do we put in this? Kraken, Coinbase, green crypto. What in the world is green crypto? Bitcoin going crazy all over the place. Ethereum, man, I saw some articles coming out on Ethereum saying that Ethereum could tenfold, go 10 times, and they're looking at like 10,000 plus for Ethereum, and it's getting a little bit of a wave from the financial space right now, and it's crazy what could happen.
Jeff, got an important question.
Imagine.
Professor XRP wants to know which one's Chip.
The other one, that one.
That one over there.
The one without the name.
You know what I realized? We don't have our names on here. So
well, that's because it goes away when you get rid of the thing. Watch.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Let's see. There it goes.
Boom, there's the name. Check it out.
Ah, interesting. Huh.
Yeah,
You learn something new every single day. Let's go through here. Hey,
Right.
drop where you're from in there. I got Kansas City in the Easy. Got what up, XRP? It's got Bra in here. Number one is we have Professor XRP in here.
Who was number one in the chat today? AI. Oh, did you already put that one up there?
Al, what up, guys?
Al. There you
Lady
go.
E is in here tonight. What's up, Crypto Pioneers? Chip and Jeff. Hi, Lady E. How are you doing tonight?
Nice.
Oh, Shava Mofo's in here.
I haven't seen Shava Mofo in a
Ron
while.
Drake. What's up, Ron? Good to see you, man.
Sweet.
GDLT, another great YouTuber
Yep.
in the house.
Good guy.
Legendary,
Legendary.
which is pretty much legendary. There you go.
Legend.
Corky B, Kelly Slade,
Whoops.
XRP
Made it
Welder.
early for a change. Nice. What is
Okay,
up?
Edward's back in. What's up, Crypto
Good to
Pioneers?
see Edward. So
Our
check
pal
this
Carl
out.
Lewis.
Hey, keep bouncing my thing out. Here we go. This Ills right here, talking about delisted. So we said U.S. ban on XRP. We'll get into it. We'll talk about it. Ills already onto us a little bit. Delisted here and there. Maybe a pending lawsuit. So we'll get into that a little bit deeper again, because there's always a little bit of new news.
Yeah, Digital Asset Conductors in here. You got Channing Smithson. Who else we got in here? Tons of people. Yeah.
All right. So let's dig into some
Frogedelic
stuff
Research.
here. Where do you want to start today? You want to start off with this,
I want to start. I'll tell you
yeah.
where I want to start because I want to let off a little bit of. I want to let a little bit of steam off here because so obviously everybody's aware that there was a big event here in the United States today. It was called the new president was inaugurated. I'm not sure if he knows it, but I'm sure eventually at some point someone will tap him on the shoulder and let him know. But we had a new president here, and this is what kills me right here. Brad Garlinghouse. I mean, the other day we had Gary, or what's his name, Gessler, the new head of the SEC. Now he's like, so there's this story in the New York Times that says breaking news: President Biden recommitted the U.S. to the Paris Climate Agreement, the international accord designed to avert catastrophic global warming. And what does Brad chime in and say? Day one priorities for POTUS for the president. Check. Okay, so let me just say something, Mr. Garlinghouse, dude. You've got billions of dollars in USD erased from XRP hodlers. You've got people who who haven't been able to pay their mortgage, who don't have places to live, and this is the priority. This is incredible, Jeff. Here we go with all the climate change and this and that. By the way, the two biggest countries that aren't part of this Paris Accord, by the way, this is just a money funneling operation. I always say with everything, follow the money. But if you want to see what this is really about, yeah, it was me. I was like, seriously? Wow, no words. Serdan says minus 10 Celsius here. So warm we have to burn coal to be able to sleep. What's next? Suing the sun for heating too strong? We had Sam I Am says you'll figure this out when his handlers have no interest in U.S. company being at the center of a new global payment system, Brad. Not to worry. I don't think he's going to be there for very long. You'll see your congratulations were very premature. So there's a lot of this stuff in here. Yeah, a lot of this stuff. But Jeff, the whole thing that gets me on this thing is, when it comes to something like so sensitive like this, and you're coming out, I think Garlinghouse is a fantastic leader. I think he's a great leader of the company, but this is just stepping in it. This kind of stuff right here is not necessary. Day one, priorities, check. I'm thinking if I've got the checklist and it's very long and it's pages long and it's like, I'm carrying this giant book if it were like printed out. It's not even in the book.
Is that the first one? It's wouldn't you think it would be more financial related? Would he be concerned about what Janet Yellen was saying? Regulation? Would it have something to do with who's going to chair the new OCC chair?
Right.
What about the SEC? What are they going to do? We've had multiple people in the SEC. Now there's this major lawsuit. Wouldn't you think he would want to prioritize and think more along the financial climate a little bit?
Yeah, well, the other thing too, the thing about this climate Paris change, it's one of these feel-good things. It's like, let's all feel good. You know what it really is? You know how much money the U.S. contributes? It's a slush fund. It's a slush fund to basically give out to all your pals. Here you go, pal. You have a company that does what? Here's a few $1 million. You'll save us from you're going to magically turn back time to 300 years ago when when it was actually hotter on the earth. Okay, I mean, and on top of it, you've got China and you have India that don't participate. The two biggest countries and the two biggest contributors to this whole climate issue, so they say. So yeah. I'm floored when I see something like this. I'm like, what? Well, what are you thinking, man? Let's keep it. If you're gonna reply professional, I mean, I understand that's his personal account, but if you're gonna reply to something, I just don't think this is even a priority. This year, next year, any year, I just don't see it as a priority. I see a lot of things taking care of people. Then they also, the other thing that they did was we have a pipeline that goes from Canada down to Houston area. and they canceled that. So they just killed instantly about 10,000 jobs.
Yeah, wonderful.
Erased.
Hey,
Goodbye.
I just need to just say something real quick.
Come on, man, berserker.
Berserker's in the house.
Berserker is
So
in the
I don't
house.
want to get too much of a rant, but I just think we should keep it professional in the sense that I would have loved to see, hey, we can't, congratulations. We're really looking, forward to some really good economic policy. I mean, something like that. Economic policy. We're really excited about the potential for the cryptocurrency space. We're really excited about, the opportunity, or, just something simple like that. But day one priority.
Yeah,
Man.
no, and I get it. A lot of people are saying, hey, XRP doesn't burn a lot of energy. I get it. I understand, the kind of direction that he's coming from. But the problem is that they've doubled down, on this. So Brad Garlinghouse, that's one thing. If he came out, I get what they're trying to, drive at here. But here's David Schwartz, comes out and says, with the incoming administration prioritizing the use of sustainable renewable energy sources, building carbon neutral validation protocols is a no-brainer. Now I get it. The energy consumption, for the use of the XRP validators, a lot less. However, in the grander scheme of things, is this really the big conversation that you want to embroil yourself into? I really. And they did this before. I get it. They want to, voice their political opinions. They want to voice, they're also trying to compete against Bitcoin. That's not the way. I don't know. That's not the way to do it. Bitcoin is has first mover advantage. Bitcoin is, taking the world by storm. Right now it's increasing to an exponential level. Financial institutions are embracing it. Is there a cliff on the other side? Maybe there is. Maybe the cliff brings it back down to zero. Maybe it brings it back down to, triple digits. Who knows? But the thing is that right now that's the direction. And the big financial institutions, all the, agencies that are looking at it, for a place to, to put their money right now, as a place of safety, they're not considering whether or not it's sustainable or not. China, with all their mining operations over there, they're not thinking about whether or not it's economic or ecologically sound or not. They're looking at it from a completely different perspective. And this, I don't know, this kind of conversation to me is very one-sided, and it fits into a little tiny box. It fits into a little tiny box in the US. It fits into a little tiny box over in Europe, and then that's it. That's where it starts. That's where it ends. I'd really like to see, more focus coming out. Like right now, I want to see some additional confidence building. We saw Kraken, is delisting XRP by the end of the month. We saw Grayscale, liquidating iTrust, moving away from XRP. I want to see some confidence builders in the U.S. market. They don't have to give a play-by-play on a regular, day-by-day basis. However, I really think that they need to have, more conversation. Fits in a big box.
A big box. Okay, Lionel, we stand corrected. Sorry about that.
The big box.
Jeff, you meant to say the big box. It's a giant box.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Well, Jeff, I mean, look, and right, rightfully so, you make the argument that there's no doubt about how the efficiency of XRP and the fact that it's already done. I mean, there is a giant waste of electricity, but beating up on Bitcoin is like, if you're gonna try to best them, you're not gonna best them on the whole idea of like, well, they don't use less energy. Like that's a gimme. Like they've already conceded that, right? They already know that that's but what I worry about in this whole thing is like, why don't you get them on utility? Hey, by the way, we've all utility. We're being used by Coil. We're being used. Now we're going to be. When you look at Flare and you look at how this DeFi space is going to open up, and you look how XRP is going to be involved with that. There's a lot of different use cases that are opening up. Focus a little more on that. That's all. I just, and it's okay. It's okay to share an opinion, but I think it's, these are tough times. I mean, people are hurting right now, and it's like, especially if you took a chance, you invested money, and like you have your, we want to hear a little bit of vote of confidence from the people that are leading Ripple. It's like, I don't know. I mean, that's all. I mean, it's just, I don't want to really get too much further into it. I think that that, I'd like to see more coming out of the leadership there too, as far as where we're going. I mean, there's only so much they can really say, but I'm not saying I don't have full confidence in Brad and David as far as leaders and what they're doing, because I think they're phenomenal humans.
We talk about it every single day. We talk about where they're going. So, you got to look at everything. We look at everything. We workshop every aspect of everything.
Right. Sometimes we call them out. We don't see it's just, I don't, is it important? Yeah, but is it a priority day one? I don't know. But anyway.
I'll tell you what's sad, man. Today, I picked my son up from school and I said, let's go get a smoothie. And he said, where? I said, we're going to go to the coffee shop down the street. So we drive over the coffee shop, and I swear, a couple weeks ago, I was telling my wife, I said, I think it was dark in there. I think it's closed.
Oh, no.
All right, and we get there and we pull up, lights are on, but there's a different sign on the front. It's open now, like all day long, until 8 o'clock, and he had limited hours. And then we go inside, all the chairs were different. People working behind the counter are different. Nothing's in the glass. He had all these organic foods and stuff in there. And I'm just like, what happened to the coffee shop? It's gone. It's just like he was another victim of what happened here, because he just couldn't sustain, and you had some, people came in and they turned into one of those bubble tea or whatever type places and with some coffee. But man, I keep seeing these types of things. And, it was interesting because Chip and I were talking yesterday. We're talking about all the stuff that's going on right now. The one thing that is a consistent, that's continuously growing and building, is the crypto space, the decentralized economy. And the decentralized economy is what's propelling and building and really growing the whole world. There's so much involved in this. And actually, yesterday, to take a kind of a jump off of this, Mohammed Musa had asked that we check out the Luno exchange that he uses over in Nigeria. And then somebody else doubled down on that question, Speakerhound, and said, could you combine that and talk about the Africa Free Trade Agreement? And could you get into that a little bit to kind of analyze, where these, two things are coming from? And man, here it's so key, because here, we go, we're seeing a lot of turmoil, but we're seeing an economy that's in its infancy, that's growing up, that's building. And we see what's, we talked a little bit yesterday, touched on a little bit what's happening in Nigeria, in Africa, in Asia. And we're really starting to see some momentum building, in this space, in the crypto space, in the blockchain space. And to me, if you want to focus, as Ripple, and Ripple has a focus on Asia and all these things. Come on, you know what? Keep all that other stuff aside. Let's focus on the development of the crypto space. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear a tech guy, talking about other things. I want to know about the tech, and I want to know about how we're going to get from here to full real world utility across the board. I want to, see, what's going on over in Africa right now. What is Ripple doing in Africa? What's Ripple doing in Asia? Let's focus and talk about that. How are they going to benefit the people over there? Forget about, stuff that you can't really do a lot. I want to know about I want to see them get their hands dirty. I want to see what that's all about. I want to see how we're creating an economy, a decentralized economy all over the world. I think that's what's key.
No, I think that's really well said, Jeff. And Channing says, let's give a thumbs up for our fellows on their soapbox. I like that. Thank you for that. Sometimes, every once in a while we go off and stuff, but really, it doesn't matter. I mean, forget about, this person, that person, whoever. That's not what this is about. It's really about, because every country goes through this, right? Your candidate wins, your candidate doesn't win. You like the way things are going, you don't like the way things are going. Both sides don't like, multiple sides don't like the way things are going. But then you start seeing a lot of fallout with these governments, and you start seeing a lot of the central banks wanting to take control. And your point is well taken, Jeff, because the more we decentralize everything, at some point, when we saw Jack put out that tweet last week, he basically said that they hired a team. They're looking at creating something to become more decentralized. And I actually think that's a good idea. I think I don't know how you do it with big tech to be 100% sure, like how that's going to work. But I think moving in the right direction. But I think when it comes to the financial and any kind of fintechs, I think the old guard is really put on notice right now. They're getting very nervous right now, Jeff. And that we see that in the way they come after Bitcoin. Even Christine Lagarde, she's been around the space long enough, but then she starts attacking Bitcoin. And then you got all these people coming after Bitcoin. It's like, guys, that's not going to create harmony in the space. Going after the big guy, Bitcoin, saying, well, it doesn't have a utility. It does. It's called store of value, and it's making a lot of people a lot of money. So I think to create more harmony in the space, we need to promote the space. Y'all kind of have to be less tribal. Yeah, there's the project you like, but this has to be for everything. And it's like all countries can become decentralized. Your country, imagine if it moved towards decentralization and every time the government did something with the money, it was tracked on the blockchain. Imagine if there were oracles that were interfaced with smart contracts so that when something happened off chain, you would know what happened on the blockchain, right? So there would be, and you'd have this massive transparency, and you'd start to become, because it's a little more trustless, you'd have some trust in the program, right? It's like, okay, now I'm down with it. I can see exactly where it's going, who got paid out, how that money's getting spent in the government. Because right now they complain about Bitcoin. Does anybody really know their government and where some of that money's going? You don't. None of us do. So Transparency, blockchain, decentralization, it's more than just the digital assets. It's really gonna really shake up the earth, and I think we're moving towards that, and people are getting a little nervous. So
The people at the top, right? The
elites.
They're getting nervous about what's happening. I agree.
Lionel says the store of value also applies utility to a pyramid scheme. Well,
there we go. Lionel.
Technically, a pyramid has to be this sort of a structure, so whoever gets underneath. But if you're left holding the bag, yeah, fair enough. It could technically be that. It's all possible, I was just looking through some of these comments. Well, one good thing did come out. So there was, every time when you see a president who leaves office, they pardon a bunch of people or they commute sentences. Basically, they let them off the hook. They're not going to be prosecuted if they're already in prison, because there are a lot of people in prison for ridiculous offenses. A lot of people did 7, 10, 15, 20 years for nonviolent offenses like for marijuana and get a life sentence.
This guy right here. Trump pardons Ripple board member Ken Kurson.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, Jeff. I was leading right into that story. Boom.
That's an interesting one. There you go.
Pardons Ripple boarder Ken Kurson. Yeah. So, so he pardoned Ken Kurson. He was a former board member, founder of the Modern Consensus, a crypto media outlet. He's one of the 73 individuals who received the full pardon. Early Wednesday, less than 12 hours before presidency ended. Further 70 individuals had their sentences commuted, but didn't include Ross Albright, the Silk Road founder, which I was kind of hoping that would happen as well. Also, he had Assange, who was not in there, but some other people. There was a lot of people were not known. In other words, they weren't household names. But it was interesting that
this is a little bit bizarre, right here.
What's that?
He's arrested in October on charges of cyber stalking. His ex-wife, after a background check, raised accusations of sending threatening messages, installing keystroke monitoring software, and making false accusations to someone's employer.
Yeah, it's a little messed up, Jeff. I'm not gonna lie. But again, the allegations, who knows? I mean, it could be going through a divorce. Nobody really knows,
But she said that the ex-wife wrote on his behalf and said that she never wanted the investigation or the arrest. And it's amazing. I never even heard about that. Not that it's super relevant to the space, but
But when we talk about Silk Road, though, who do we know that's very famous right now from Silk Road? One guy, this guy Albrecht. So he was the guy hiding behind Silk Road. No one knew who he was. He was operating. It was like the dark web type of stuff. And he finally got busted. There were other people involved with it, but this is the guy that took the hit because he didn't do it. He wasn't running it by himself, but he's really the only one that did time. So it's a little bit sad. I mean, I get it. The guy did his time. He's already been put under. And this is really where Bitcoin got its nefarious sort of roots, where people were using Bitcoin to do all kinds of bad things. Let's face it. Silk Road was a pretty rough place. A lot of weird stuff went on there. It was like there was no censoring of anything. Like, I don't even want to say some of the stuff that went on there, but it's pretty evil. And a lot of times, this is early days, Bitcoin was used. So you had to use cryptocurrency. You didn't want it to be traced. This is pre, KYC, AML. But all right, the guy did his time. And then you got Mt. Gox as well. You had Mt. Gox that was a debacle. And I hear that a lot of those people are going to get some of their money back, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah, I mean
cool.
that's definitely happening, but that's where,
Yeah,
trying to stay in the know on this space,
thank
there's
God he pardoned Little Wayne. Thank God,
that was a big one.
That was another big one, right? It was Little Wayne, right? So there you go. But they were buddies, so
Yeah.
they were pals from the going back to the Apprentice days when he used to do
Hey,
that TV show.
didn't Ulbricht hire a hitman? He had some serious charges besides operating
Yeah,
on the road. There is obviously a lot more to it, the whole idea. But somebody's bringing up co-founder Jeb McCaleb selling more XRP despite SEC charges. Now, I vaguely remember, is he required to sell off a certain amount of
yeah,
it,
but he
or what is
he
the
is.
requirement that he's
Yeah,
on?
well, the thing was he was trying to dump it all, and then they went to court and they said you can only dump. I don't know what the amount is, 1 million or something, whatever it is per day. So he was dumping whatever the maximum he was allowed by this new order that the judge issued. But he went on a 25-day hiatus where he wasn't selling any of it. From when the 23rd, well, I think he stopped on the 23rd or 20, maybe it was the 24th, but it was right around when the Ripple suit hit is when he stopped. And then all of a sudden, after 25 days, started selling again. And all of a sudden, everyone went, whoa, 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 whoa. But you know what? I mean, let him sell it. I mean, what's the problem with him selling XRP? It's not deemed a security. I mean, I don't know why he took a break. Maybe he hired some attorneys and he wanted to get, some opinions first. Maybe he just took a break. I don't know. Maybe he went on a three-week binge. Who knows, man? A bender. He went on a bender, maybe, a lost
Yeah.
weekend in LA and lockdown.
Well,
Who
I mean,
knows?
it's worth $8 million. I mean, you think about, that the guy's worth a decent amount, but that you don't know what his status in life is. You don't know what he wants to do. Maybe he needs the 8 million for something else. Maybe he's investing in a new business. Maybe he's buying a new house. Maybe he's diversifying. Maybe, I mean, he's been selling this whole time. So, our people are looking at this and saying, oh, he's dumping again. But, he's been selling. He wanted to sell when he separated off to do XLM. He didn't, so now he's kind of in this spot. But I just think it's interesting because one of the questions from that article was SEC enforcement leading to dumping ? Meaning that is he dumping? And I think that's a very valid question, not just related to him, but just in general. Is the SEC action leading to dumping? Are people selling? Yes, people are selling because of the SEC. Now, that's has a major implication because the SEC files suit against Ripple. 7 years of acceptance, and then they file a suit against Ripple, saying that XRP is, in their eyes, a security. But yet 7 years went by, they didn't say anything. So everybody's operating under this understanding that it's not, because the SEC is not doing anything about it. There's no regulatory clarity. Now, is it leading to dumping? People are selling. I mean, and that's John Deaton's case is specifically related to that the SEC has taken an action without considering the retail holders, without considering people that have bought into this digital asset, because in their case, they're joining XRP with Ripple, and they're going after all of XRP. So they're saying now all of XRP is a security because Ripple sold, and so, and they're trying to relate it till 2020 when this all happened in 2013.
Exactly. Well, not only that, but I mean, they were communicating pretty often with the SEC, letting them know what they're going to do. And those tolling agreements go back to like at least the ones we're aware of in the complaint. Now, who knows if there was conversations prior to that, but that goes back to April of 2019. That's almost 2 years ago. We're coming up, almost on 2 years. So when you look at that, you have to say to yourself, like, okay, I mean, a tolling agreement is when you're able, because there's a 5-year, what's the cost? Statute of limitations. So there's 5 years. So if it's 2020 now, when they filed that lawsuit in 2020, they can only go back to 2015. A tolling agreement is between the SEC and Ripple. It allows them to go back past that statute of limitations. So there were periods of time, if you look in the complaint, the SEC v. Ripple, there were little periods of time where they had a tolling agreement, which meant they were able to go back probably with discovery. Discovery meaning the SEC would say, hey, let's hand over this. Give me your emails. Give me any emails you have, any memos, any printed material, whatever it might be, whatever they ask for. That's why they call it discovery, because they're finding out stuff. And all those emails that were in there, they had to take all the emails, go through all the emails, and sort of create their complaint and put it together in something that made sense, even though it was a little bit loose on the whole sense thing. But they never charged them with fraud, which is what John Deaton said. When I read through there, I thought the fraud was coming, like, okay, they're going to charge both executives with fraud, defrauding stuff. They didn't. So when we look at XRP, there's that one who put the question up there. Here it is right here, Jaden. Jaden says, hey, Jeff, Chip, what do you think will happen to XRP? Absolutely nothing will happen to XRP, because XRP is a decentralized asset. Now, if we ask the question, what will happen to the 48 billion that's sitting in escrow or whatever it is, I don't know what the exact number is. Okay, that's something that, even though Ripple doesn't have control of it, it's in an escrow. There's rules around it that the validators, the SEC could view that as, well, you guys created the rule and now it's sitting in this escrow. But the fact is that XRP is decentralized. So Brad Garlinghouse famously said, if something happened to Ripple and it ceased to exist, XRP would continue on, where it's being used in Flare. It's being used in other use cases with Coil. It's going to be used all over the place. So, Jeff, what are your thoughts on what will happen to XRP, to answer Jaden's question there?
Honestly, I don't see anything happening with it. I think that, regardless of what the U.S. does, I think it's already proven now that other countries, it's continuing, it's expanding. We see what's happening over in Asia. We see, new relationships being built, utilizing ODL, utilizing RippleNet between Japan and Malaysia and Thailand and all these countries over there. So it's growing. SBI understands the importance of the ODL. I think, all these exchanges are still trading in other countries. There's no statement that they're going to pull it and delist it because of what's happening in the U.S. You think, I was talking about this Luno exchange, which we'll look at briefly, that Mohammed was talking about, and you think they really care about what's happening in the U.S. when their trade partners for Luno, as far as countries, they're in the UK, they're in Singapore, they're in South Africa, Malaysia, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Australia. They have a local presence, like an actual, fixed presence there. But yet they trade and support many countries. And, so that, that's significant, so there you go. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Litecoin. It's easy. They have the app. You can trade it. You can buy it. So if it's happening in other parts of the world, why would it go away? How is it even relevant? Now, it's a decentralized, the XRPL is decentralized at this point. There's validator nodes all over. Ripple doesn't control a majority of them. Ripple is like the overseer of the escrow. But even the escrow, as we've talked about multiple times, even the escrow isn't 100%, in their hands. So there's a lot of a lot of variables here.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's a really good. I mean, it looks like a very clean site, very strong design. It looks. I mean, everything we looked at and read. I mean, it's hard to know. You can't dive into everything, right? As far as, I mean, sometimes we got to get into the nitty gritty. Got to look at the terms and conditions. We haven't gone that far into it, but I mean, on surface, like you said, a lot of great partners. And look, why would anybody care? I know one of the reasons that you care if you don't live in the U.S. is one thing is going to happen when that's deemed not a security. It's going to be the greatest on sale digital asset ever, right? So it's gonna do good things. Now, a lot of times people ask us questions. They say like, well, how much XRP do I need? Well, I saw something pretty interesting today from the website Ledger. Exposed the showing of XRP in accounts, and from that, let's see why don't you take a look at this chart here? Let's see where you guys end up. So if you're in the top percent with approximately this XRP, so you're in the top 5%. If you own 10,000 XRP, 10,002 XRP, you are in the top 5% of all XRP holders. Now remember, there's a lot of wallets out there that have the 20 XRP. That's it, right? If you own 13,395, you're top 4%. If you own 20,000 35,554, you are in, let me see if I can make this, oh, that's bigger, okay. You're in the top 3. So now it starts getting interesting. If with 35,000 XRP, that means that you have more XRP than 98% of, that's another way to look at it, the 98% of all of the people that own XRP. And you are the top 1%, which means 99% of the bag holders, of the people that have XRP in their portfolio, have less than you. I like that because it sounds a lot more exciting, right? 99% of the people have more. You're the top 1%. Now, the top 1% goes up to 1 million, 5 million, 15 million, the whales. But just so you know, like if you have 10,000 XRP, you're like, oh, I don't even have 10,000 yet, or I have 10,000. You're in the top 5%. That means 95% of the people have less. So, you know, it's an interesting chart. It doesn't really mean anything. It kind of just shows you based on all of the wallets out there. And then this is from here, this ledger exposed, right? So this comes down to this, and this is the full stats right here. You can see that there's some pretty big, let's see, yeah, like right there you go. There's five accounts have 10 billion, or is that 10 trillion? 10 billion, yeah, 10 billion, then 6 billion, then 16. Bottom line is that it's kind of fun sometimes to see where you stand, because you never know. You're like, oh wait, I don't know, how do I stack up against other people? You're probably doing better than you think.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to one here. He said, have you discussed XRP being used as a payment on, I won't say that here, but
yeah, we don't want to get banned.
You can read it. But, you know, that brings up a really solid point, you know. So it's interesting because we talked about this the other day, you know, XRP, digital asset, cryptocurrencies being used in areas that, you know, banks have, you know, tried to kind of edge themselves out of, you know, in a nice way, but actually block specific industries. And, you know, I bring this up because if we look at the headline here, new OCC rule is a win in the fight against financial censorship. And what does that actually mean? We talked about this the other day, something that Brian Brooks did, you know, through the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency through OCC, which is, here it says the rule is a huge win for civil liberties and for the many sectors who have found themselves in the bad graces of corporate financial services. So, you know, banks were actually deciding which industries they would deal with. And what is the one, you know, industry? One is the cryptocurrency projects. You know, others, you know, are going to be in hemp or whatever, you know, whatever you want to, you know, reference. And obviously, you know, these areas. So it's interesting that, you know, that you brought that up because, yes, you know, we're starting to see digital asset cryptocurrency used, but now the banks are also not able to block in those spaces. But digital asset as a whole, I think this is, you know, what one is, you know, bringing up over there. It's key because what that's showing is that you are utilizing a digital asset in a way to transact, to buy something, and it's done efficiently. And once that transaction is complete, it's complete. And the settlement is done in, you know, 3 seconds. Or wherever you fill it out, you send over the payment, and it's done. And so that becomes, you know, important aspect of the discussion, regardless of what the site is or regardless of what the purchase is at that point in the discussion that will be the SEC case against Ripple to show, hey, by the way, this is actually a currency.
Yeah, and this is I wanted to talk. Squirrel Brains basically said banks can from over on Twitter said banks can absolutely use Ripple Labs tech without using the XRP token. Remember that? Yeah, that's absolutely true because they rolled out. You remember early days they're rolling out almost like a competing messaging service. It was a little bit better than what Swift had, but if you're going to get adoption, you don't flip the switch right away. So you sort of get people engaged in it, and then you sort of change it. But that's also a good point. And I want to bring this up too. You know, we hear so much about how nefarious Bitcoin is and how bad it is and how bad the digital space is, and cryptocurrencies are really bad. And then all of a sudden I come across this article. Digital currency crime declined in 2020. Look at that. According to Chainalysis, a digital currency related crime declined significantly from 2019 to 2020. Chainalysis discovered that in 2020, criminal transaction volume was about $10 billion, roughly about 0.3% of all digital currency transaction volume compared to 2019 when criminal transaction flows were roughly 21 billion and represented 2% of all digital transactions. So basically what's happened is when people start coming out, it's dropped significantly. I mean, from 2.1%, well, more than that. It dropped by sixfold. If you look at 2%, 0.3, that's 6 times less than 0.34. I mean, it's incredible.
That's as a percentage of all digital currency transaction volume.
Right, but I'm just
We're
saying
talking about the total volume. They said criminal transaction volume is 10 billion, which is roughly 0.34% of all digital currency transaction volume.
Yeah, compared to 2019 when the criminal transaction flows were roughly 21 billion, right?
And 2.1%.
And 2%. That's what I'm saying. So it's
of
about
all digital currency transactions. Yeah, that's
right.
amazing.
So it dropped from 2% to 0.3% is significant, right? That's in 1 year. It's not over a 5-year period. But yet, what do we hear from all the legislators, legislators and the lawmakers and the regulators? Oh, this Bitcoin is bad. Well, why don't you dig up some stats on it and come back and let's have a conversation about it, because you're not doing your homework. So that's a pretty significant drop that I saw, because after getting pummeled in Bitcoin and how bad digital assets are and they're risky, well, so are stocks. I mean, there's a lot of things you get involved with, but I just thought that was interesting, Jeff, to see like how big of a drop that was. I was when I first read this, I almost said it declined, and I thought it would go down like 0.02 or something like that. So anyway, I don't know I'm wondering if maybe, KYC, AML, if more lockdown and more, I don't know what contributed to such a drop, but fiat's still on there.
Yeah, David says, because I'm new to crypto, what exactly are we hoping the SEC decides? We want XRP to be a currency. Sorry if it's a dumb question. There's never a dumb question, that's for sure.
No, there's no dumb questions.
Especially as we try to look at this, what in an ideal world, Chip, what do we want, the outcome of the SEC case to be?
I think we were really looking for some clarity. I think that if they were to come out and say, look, it was perhaps a security when the Ripple execs sold it, or it was being sold, but at some point it transitioned to a completely decentralized asset. So it goes from being deemed not a current, just lost my brain thought there. No, it goes from completely not being a security. Now, it could have been a security. It looks like it's possible that it could have been security early days. It wasn't 100% decentralized. It does hit a lot of the Howey test that we talk about. The Howey test is that in 1946, there was an orange grower up and around just south of Orlando here in Florida who had an orange grove, and he was trying to expand, and actually he had passed away, but his company had his name, and what they're trying to do is sell plots of land to different people, investors, and what they said was, you don't even have to work the land, you don't even have to be here, just all you have to do is pay us, for the land, and then we'll go ahead and sell the oranges for you. We'll grow them, we'll pick them, we'll put them market, and guess what? You'll get paid. So there's sort of a financial arrangement there and a contract and the premise that it would make money. So it fit all that. That's what we know known as the Howey test. We're still using that same test, but the way a lot of people have analyzed it, I look at people like John Deaton, who we had on Sunday night. We had him on before, and when you look at what he's looking at as far as the, it being a security, I don't think anyone really believes it. Last night we played JP Thero, the CEO of Uphold. He said, look, we have all the lawyers, and one of their attorneys is an ex-SEC. They don't think it's a security now, okay? They don't think it's a security now. So to say what we've already heard is Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're not securities. And what we're waiting to hear is, guess what? Neither is XRP. Neither are any of the other ones. And that's kind of what we believe we're going to hear. But suppose they say it is a security. It doesn't matter, because 90% of the customers are outside of the U.S. XRP is not going away. You can't stop it. The same way you just can't say, well, we don't like Bitcoin. Well, good luck with that. Bitcoin's here to stay. So are all the digital assets, unless they damage themselves and take themselves out, which Ethereum's done a pretty good job at points. They've been circling but anyway, that's my rant. Go ahead. What do you got there, John?
No, I think, Channing brings up some important points here, that the case is more than being about XRP, because it's not just XRP. The outcome is really looking at how Ripple, transacted in the space by, rolling out a digital asset, as part of their solution. Now, XRP was gifted to Ripple, the company, and then they took this amount that was gifted to them and they put it into an escrow. That escrow, has certain terms and conditions to it, and one of those terms and conditions is that they can release 1 billion XRP per month, and then they're supposed to use a certain percentage of it, and then the rest has to go back into escrow. The percentage they use is meant to use in the expansion of the space. But as they look at this, what exactly is the SEC, trying to do? What could the impact be? Because it could be, much broader. If this comes out as a security, there's others on the chopping block at that point. Celsius with their Cell token. Now, Alex Mashinsky outlined why he doesn't think the Cell token is even close to being a security. XLM could be on the chopping block. Maybe, there's a whole list. We could go down one by one. Then they really need to go back and relook at Ethereum again, because they made the statement that Ethereum had been, in their estimation, or could have been a security, but now it's not because of whatever their outcome was. So there's really, a lot going, through that. There is another comment here that I thought was really interesting.
I want to throw this one up here. Let's throw this one. Joanne B says, I'm in the payment processing now and looking for new payment options for merchants on the right. What is the best option I can offer and make money like I do now? That's a good question. I mean, it's
You have to build something.
You might have to build something. I'm sorry, that might be the short answer, but there are some solutions in the works. So yeah, I know where you're going with that, Joanne. So yeah, that's it's kind of hard to really know. There are some.
To talk to Joanne.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, to have that.
Maybe DM us, send us an email or DM us on Twitter, and we can talk a little bit about that and then workshop through that. That's interesting.
Yeah, and you're right. There's some really good comments here. Sometimes they fly by fast. You don't see them that all.
Here's another one. Is this the one?
Shout out to Andrew Nation. Sorry, it was a short shout out.
Short shout out, Andrew. So this one here, and I think this is really, this is relevant, between everything. It's, send money from PayPal to someone's Square or Venmo, to someone's Cash App. You can't do it. You're either on the platform, you're not on the platform. And the banks using, what's that service the banks use now?
Well, in the U.S. they use, I can look it up.
I don't know why I just forget.
It's called Zelle.
Zelle, there you go.
Zelle.
So Zelle can be used if you have, a Zelle account. If you don't have a Zelle account, you're not getting it. But pretty much most banks have Zelle connected to it. You have to go through, register it, and then all of a sudden you can send with Zelle. But if you're on Venmo, you're not going Venmo to Zelle.
And what's funny?
Yeah.
Venmo's PayPal, but you can't go PayPal to Venmo.
That's problematic also. And so the follow-up to that is, could XRP bridge the gap between the ledgers? Yes. And Charles says yes. And that's exactly it. It's there as a bridge. The XRPL, anything can, then be built on the XRPL because of the interoperability. Now, the primary use case of the XRP ledger with XRP was for bigger financial transactions, moving, bigger sums of money, the financial institutions. That was their primary target, which, if we look at it, one of the reasons why the Stellar Foundation probably split off, because you have the XRP ledger and with Ripple developing their solution, their focal point was big institutions. And then you have Jeb, spins off and creates the Stellar Foundation and says, well, we're going to do this because we want to bank the unbanked. And we want to start helping, smaller amounts of money transact over a similar kind of solution. Hence, they rolled out the Stellar Foundation, similar but different than the XRPL. And, I believe, the Stellar Foundation is onto some great things. We saw that the Ukrainian CBDC had tapped the Stellar Foundation to build on their blockchain, not necessarily utilize XLM. However, that's what it's all about. This is the direction that these are going in, and to have a CBDC is basically a currency. But even more interesting is that, as we're looking at the interconnectivity of everything, is that David Schwartz had referenced a stablecoin, and stablecoins being built on the XRP ledger.
Yeah, and you can see that there's a little bit of scrambling going on here and there. I mean, the space is changing pretty quickly. I mean, I saw this one here too. It says, buckle your seatbelts. New York Attorney General to decide on Tether in 30 days. So you kind of see the Bitfinex ones, in Tether are scramble mode. The parent company, the stablecoin operator Tether, and the Bitfinex exchange produced a substantial volume of documents to support its case against the New York Attorney General, Letitia James. And what we heard about that, and Jeff's dug into this a little bit about how powerful they have a lot of power in New York, especially in the Southern District, which is where obviously the SEC is located and where this case is going to be taking place for Ripple. They have another 30 days before the Office of the Attorney General makes a decision whether to continue with further proceedings or issue a final status update. So I'm sure that they're in scramble mode to get things together after receiving that. The 30-day period to which the parties agreed to maintain Tether's current status quo is for iFinex to produce any remaining materials. So they're still in discovery mode where they're handing over stuff. The result is likely to be a ruling that imposes penalties on iFinex and Tether, the company that oversees the USDT asset, and or demands they become more transparent in the future operations. The large complaint about Tether among market participants is the opaque nature of its governance and exactly what backs the value. And we've talked a little bit about that, but it's kind of coming up. It could be coming up pretty quick, and the judge could actually, choose a ruling on that. But again, I don't think that's going to go well because of the whole idea of, they changed their back-end multiple times. First, it was 1-to-1 on parity with the U.S. dollar. Then it was backed by the U.S. dollar and gold. And that was backed by a bunch of things. So I don't know. That's going to be. What are you smiling over there, Jeff? Someone making a funny in the comments there?
Okay. So please stop saying after every bloody sentence.
Was I saying that?
I probably said it.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Well, it's sometimes. Yeah, stop saying that. Well, I mean, everyone gets on their. Everyone has their things that they have to worry about saying over and over again. Let's see. There's another good comment in here. I like when these guys take the piss out of us, Jeff. It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The best ones are some of the comments you guys leave on our videos after. Holy cow! I am just roaring some of the times, man. You guys are some funny people.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was what Organic Fud was saying. Venmo is owned by PayPal, and you can't even send money from your Venmo account to your PayPal account. Brad Garlinghouse, show this quote to anyone he asks you, "What is XRP?" Yeah, that's a good one.
There you go, and that's it.
Right.
Interconnectivity, interoperability.
Yeah, the timeline, the XRP case, February 22nd, default to virtual currency, first one, February 23rd, Tether. Yeah, it's, first of all, it's just a pre-trial, but, I'm sure there's going to be communications in there. I saw somebody else had a good comment about John Deaton, whether or not he felt like the right of mandamus, what is it, the writ of, mandamus, how that would fear. They got to give him an answer on it. But he has something ready to go if that comes out to be not so positive. But you got to remember what's in the John Deaton complaint is if there is a fine levied against Ripple, the SEC comes and says, well, okay, here's our ruling. You guys sold an unregistered security, and we're going to find you, I don't know, $2 billion, whatever it is. What John Deaton wants to happen is he wants a fund set up by a third party, that not him or anybody in the community, by a third party, almost like an escrow account, where all that money goes there versus going into a deep, dark hole of the government somewhere where no one knows where that payment goes. And then people will be able to make claims because you did lose money and the market crashed. So that's one of the things he's looking for. And the other thing is escaping me right now. There was something else that he wanted. He wanted the XRP to be excluded as far as investors, not to be considered a security, and looking out for investors. So that was the other thing that he was looking at. So, we're keeping, in conversation with John. We'll let him know. And plus, follow him on Twitter because he's putting a lot of good stuff out there, too. So you'll kind of get an idea what's going on.
Hey, this one's interesting. Do you think crypto in general will require a wallet to be tied to your identity in coming years for tax purposes? That's such an awesome question because one of the purposes of a ledger forget about crypto, but if you were to create, and you were the government, and you were to create like the perfect scenario for tracking people's purchases and their income and everything, you'd want to put it into a ledger, right? And you want to see their buys and their sells and their their income, and you want to see everything. Now, could you imagine in this environment, in this world where now you are in the ledger, and your identity is connected to your wallet? Are we moving in that direction? What is a CBDC? What is a central bank digital currency? What is a digital dollar that is centralized, government, sponsored in order to distribute money to the people? What is the definition of that? Because it's no longer a privacy. It's not encased in any kind of privacy. You're not going to a private bank. It's going through a government entity. And I think that's kind of the one area, I don't want to call it a gray area, but that's the danger point of the ledger, of this whole technology, because we see what's going on with the digital yuan over in China. They've already, indicated this is one of their purposes. The government of Canada indicated that one of the useful points of the blockchain and the ledger and digital currency would be exactly that, to track, making sure that everybody pays their taxes. So you have to make sure that there's a level of privacy built into it, but at the same time, it could simplify the whole taxation conversation, but it could also force you to pay taxes like immediately, where it's just automatically calculated, right, Chip? I mean, you wouldn't have to do your taxes. Everything you do is already auto calculated, and boom, the money's gone.
Yeah, the problem I see with that is it's a privacy issue, right?
Yeah.
It's a big time privacy issue. So I mean, you're really, because let's say if you're making money and you're doing it and you're paying your taxes, but you're stuffing money underneath your mattress, fiat, right? Who knows about it? I mean, now you're talking about somebody having a direct, let's put a camera on that safe so we can see all the money that comes in and leaves. And, every time something happens, we're going to be there. You know what I mean? It's a pretty rough sort of I guess a kind of a standard, and when I look at the government doing anything, Ronald Reagan famously said, the most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." And he's absolutely right. I don't care what government you're with. It's like there's always going to be, if they're going to try to help you and assist you and do that, no, it never ends well. And nobody comes and says, "Hey, we got some great news for you. We know you overpaid your taxes." You'll be like, "What?" Yeah. Here we're going to give you your taxes back. Or, "Hey, we came up with a great idea. We're going to reduce taxes over the next 3 years." That doesn't happen. I mean, it can happen. It usually doesn't happen. Things go up and up and up. So when you start looking at the level of control, I worry about it, Jeff. And I do want to promote one thing. I wanted to say, if it's your first time here, like, subscribe. But more than anything, guys, we're starting to get some good traction on our podcast. So this show, if you miss it, you can take it with you. So if you subscribe here, maybe one of these is what you like. We got a bunch of people on Stitcher. So Spotify, Google, Acast, Pocket Cast, TuneIn, whatever you like to listen to podcasts on, you can subscribe to us there. So we're all over the place, and I will drop that link in there. So if you guys want to go ahead and pick up on that. And then, Jeff, let's talk a little bit about this, our upcoming meetup, which is pretty super exciting, man.
The meetup is on its way. Want to pull up? We have a banner for the meetup. There we go.
Yeah, we do. It's in. We have the banner right there. We also have here. Let me pull it up on here. I will drop the link in here, guys. Now it's great because we already saw a whole bunch of people have already registered for this puppy.
Yeah, so check it out. So virtual blockchain meetup. This is all about people getting to hang out. You can chat, you can do whatever. But the meetup, January 31st, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a Sunday. We do have a special guest. Crypto Eddie is going to be there. We have asked and so far have confirmation that we'll have some representatives from BitTrue at the event as well. This one is really, it's about the virtual meetup. It's about the community. We want to get people there. We have a registration link that we just put in the chat right now. You can go check that out. You can register for it. We're limited to 500 people. What's great about it, though, it's not about the speakers. It's about the community getting together. And the way it's set up is that there's individual virtual tables, and there's like 6 to 8 people per table. That way you're not in a room of 100 people and you can't talk and it's too loud. And then you get to rotate through the tables, and we'll intermingle, different speakers as well. So it's going to be awesome. It's the first of many that we're going to be doing. So make sure you guys register for it.
David Soto just registered.
Awesome.
Andrew Nation. I'd love to hang out with Andrew Nation. Also, yep. Professor XRP. All you guys. Loving you guys come in here. You ask really good questions. Love, that's what helps source this. So it's really phenomenal. So listen, get registered. We're going to do this thing. We're going to do one. We're going to see how it goes. And if it goes well, we'll look at maybe possibly doing another one. But we just feel like, hey, this is what we can do for the community. It's sponsored by On the Chain. And Jeff and I paid for the software and everything. It's free to you. You guys don't pay anything. Just bring your crypto mine. Bring some fun. We're going to get in there. You're going to get to hang out with us, hang out with each other. It's a virtual table, so you'll click on a table, and then you'll all of a sudden, boom, you'll be jettisoned into a room, and you'll see like 5 or 6 or 7 other people. Hey, how are you? And your names will be there. You can put your videos on, have a little bit of fun. So it's going to be a good time. I look forward to it. It's going to be coming up in less than 2 weeks, right?
That's right. Yep. Yeah, I want to give a quick shout out to Fi Zendex, because somehow on our software here we didn't see the super chat pop up, but he had asked, "What do you guys think about AGI Singularity Net?" I'm not familiar with it. Something we can look up, and we'll check it out. And we can check it out next time. So that was in here. Pop that up.
Yeah, sorry about that. I missed that.
Yeah. It didn't come into the software here, so
yeah, sorry about that. Sometimes we miss that, and we try to get it, but we get so. But anyway, guys, we look forward to seeing you on the virtual, meetup. It's coming up, and not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. Have some other people you want to, on Twitter. Come on in here. Let's all meet each other. Let's support each other. Let's talk about positive things and just be a community where you can actually. If there's a meetup going in Miami, you go, I'd love to go to Miami, but look, I'm in New Zealand. I'm in Okinawa. I mean, I can't make it there by time the schedule. This is good because you come in from wherever you are. It might just be inconvenient because it might be a little later you are, but so what? You guys listen to the show late anyway. This is going to be great. It's 10 in the morning here, so you guys should all be able to figure out a way to get there. So we're looking forward to seeing you guys there.
Yep,
Jeff, you got
awesome.
Anything?
So that's it. I just want to say I appreciate everybody being here again. We'll be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big shout out to Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel.
As well for the super chat. Appreciate you guys.
He's a good-looking kid too. That Daniel is.
Yeah, awesome. All right, that's
there
it.
There we go. That's it. All we got. Well, guys, we'll catch you
tomorrow night.
Jeff, catch you on the next one. We are out.
Out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.